Okay, thank you. I'm Councillor Collins and I will chair the subcommittee for this evening. I'd like to introduce the members of the subcommittee. Along with me this evening tonight are Councillor Balfe on my right and Councillor Maney on my left. Also in attendance are the licensing officer, Elizabeth Cox, our legal advisor, Lois Bland, and our clerk, Kenneth Healy. I would like to remind everyone present that this meeting has been live streamed and recorded, with a copy of the recording being published on the Council's website. I'd now like those in attendance who I haven't named yet to please declare themselves for the record and for which party they are acting, starting with the police.
Good evening, sir. Simon Barnes, Essex Police Licensing Officer.
Thank you. For the applicant, please.
Hi, my name is Dharani Viknaraja from Thurrock News Agent.
Could you move the microphone closer because I have difficulty hearing.
My name is Dharani Viknaraja, Thurrock News Agent. I'm applicant.
You're the...
Yeah.
And, sorry, could I take your name? I'm afraid I can't hear.
This one. Hi, I'm Emma Brooks and I'm Assistant Licensing for 21st Century Licensing.
Again, please.
Yeah.
Good evening. I'm Paul Richards. I'm 21st Century Licensing Agent for this application.
Thank you. Will there be anybody else from the team, your team, taking part?
We're all present, Chair.
Hi, I'm Logendra Kailayapillai.
It wasn't very clear. Could you bring the microphone closer to you, please?
Logendra Kailayapillai.
Thank you. Now I'd like to explain the process of the hearing. Firstly, the licensing officer will present their report. Following this, the members, all non-relevant parties, will have the opportunity to ask questions. Then each party will be given the opportunity to give their case. This is also followed by questions from members and all parties. Once everyone has presented their case, all parties will have time to give a closing summary, with the applicant having the final say. The subcommittee will then retire to consider its decision and will be accompanied by the clerk and legal advisor. We will then return with our decision. Does anyone have any questions? No? Thank you. Item 1 in the agenda is apologies for absence. I've received no apologies for absence. I'll just ask the clerk. Thank you. Item 2 on the agenda concerns urgent business. I've not been advised of any items of urgent business. So we press on to item 3. Can I invite members of the subcommittee to clear any interest if they have any?
None, Chair.
None. Thank you. Item 4 on the agenda, determination of an application for a new premises licence. Do any of the parties have any requests, in particular permission for another person to appear other than specified in advance notice, for permission to cross-examine, or any other requests? No. Thank you. I would now like to ask the licensing officer to present the factual report, please.
Thank you, Chair. An application has been received for a new premises licence for 5 Air Drive in South Ockendon. Representations were received from Essex Police and 3 of the local residents. On the 14th of November of 2022, the application was received for 5 Air Drive, submitted by Paul Richards on behalf of Thurrock Viknaraja. The application is to authorise alcohol sales for off the premises Monday to Saturday 8 AM to 9 PM and Sunday 8 till 8. The full documentation and application is at Appendix 1 and 2, pages 11 to 23. During the consultation period, 3 representations were received from local residents attached to Appendix 3, pages 25 to 28. I did just want to make clear, on the representation at page 25, they do mention the premises being in a cumulative impact area. We don't, in fact, have one of those in Thurrock, so that isn't a relevant point to it. Simon Barnes, on behalf of Essex Police, submitted a representation providing additional information, which is attached to Appendix 4, and Thurrock Trading Standards had submitted a request for conditions to be added to the licence, which was agreed, and these are at Appendix 5. If the application is granted, the licence would be subject to licence conditions derived from the operating schedule. They're listed at 2.6 of the agenda. I don't propose to read them out, but they're all there for your perusal. No representation was received from any other persons or responsible authorities. The licensing objectives are listed at 2.8, and any representation must relate to a particular premises and must be relevant to the promotion of one or more of the licensing objectives. Following hearing all the submissions tonight, the options are to grant the application as applied for, to grant the application subject to such conditions as are necessary and proportionate to promote the licensing objectives, or to refuse the application. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do members have any questions of the officer, please? No? Okay. Does the Essex Police have any questions for the licensing officer, please?
No questions, sir.
Does the applicant have any questions for the licensing officer, please?
No, Chair.
Thank you. I'd now like Essex Police to present their case.
Thank you, sir. I'll keep this very brief. There was 2 parts to our representation. One was an amendment to a condition which has been accepted by the applicant, and the second part which was information relating to a potential crime that was committed on the premises in the period of the consultation. Subsequent to my letter, the case has been filed pending the identification of the victim, which we do not believe is likely to occur. And therefore, from a policing perspective, I would have to advise you that you should consider the weight of that specific reference at its lowest, as the person involved has not been convicted nor charged with any offences in relation to that information.
Thank you. Do members have any questions for the police officer? Does the licensing officer have any questions for Essex Police? Does the applicant have any questions for the police?
We don't, Chair.
Thank you.
No.
I would now like to ask the applicant to present their case.
Thank you, Chair. May I take this opportunity to point out an amendment to the application? It's the permitted opening hours of the application. The application was submitted 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. 7 days a week. I'd like to inform the committee that the premises will be open from Monday to Friday 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. on a Saturday and a Sunday. However, the licensable activities and the hours will remain the same within the application.
Thank you.
I may ask my client to just introduce herself and about the business, and then I'll present the application.
Because we have a newspaper, that's why we had.
Could you move the microphone closer, please?
Because
Thank
the
you.
newspaper we have, that's why we've been running the business from my dad, nearly 26 years. Now my dad is passed away, so I took over nearly 10 years now. So we just want to, no? Because the newspaper, that's why we had to open 6 o'clock. Then we can open from 8 to 9 o'clock from the off license. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Chair, thank you for that. Just to recap, the business has been in the family for over 30 years. Due to the death of my client's father, she stepped in and took over the business 10 years ago. And they have been running the business successfully 7 days a week for the last 10 years. My client came to me and we discussed an application and the possibilities for the premises to sell alcohol. And we submitted an application. We read through the Thurrock's licensing policy, and we believe we submitted an application which is within the parameters of the policy. The time of the selling of alcohol is, the end time is 9 p.m., which is well beyond the late night issues. The premises, as I say, has been operating by my client for the last 10 years. There's not been any major issues at the premises, and in the last 2 to 3 years, the premises has been struggling due to the pandemic. They needed to look at their business plan and look at ways to increase the income to cover the high-rise costs. The application, as I say, was submitted, which is before you, and the licensing officer read out. We did attach a number of operation conditions to address and promote the 4 licensing objectives. Subsequently, licensing trading standards officers have asked for additional conditions. My client agreed them within as soon as it was put to her. The police, as you heard, asked for an amendment of a condition, and again, she adapted and agreed as soon as it put to her. This application is, as I submitted, taking into account the 4 licensing objectives. My clients are very well known in the area, and they have they provide a service for the local community. The application has attracted a number of representations, and unfortunately, I would like to have had an opportunity to discuss the matter with the objectors and to establish their true concerns. To their objection, one of the objections, it does mention about competition, stating that it will drive the prices down. My client will purchase the alcohol from the reputable wine distributors and spirits. He would ensure that the tax and duties are paid upon it, and he will not, if granted, they will not sell any alcohol at any reduced price. It will be sold at the recommended retail price. I see that that representation has come in and is mentioning competition. The Licensing Act, it's not any grounds to object on competition. I believe the application is fair. The conditions supplied and agreed are appropriate and proportionate, and I believe that my client will uphold and promote the 4 licensing objectives if this license is granted. I don't wish to go on anymore and take up the time. I believe the application is presented here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Do members have any questions of the applicant? Councillor Ralph.
Yeah, thank you. Just hearing the amendment to the open hours, I'm taking will the alcohol be sold behind the counter or be on open shelves? If so, if it's on open shelves, what actions are you going to take for that to be closed off during the hours that alcohol won't be sold, that is not under license agreement?
Thank you. Within the pack, there are some plans, and within the plans, the alcohol will be, the spirits will be behind the counter. The wines and lagers will be in an aisle which is blocked off. There's only one way in and one way out. Between the hours of 0600 and 8 o'clock, there will be a barrier, a boundary to stop anybody exiting or reaching into any of the alcohol. The alcohol in the fridge, which will be on view, there will be shutters down so it cannot be reached or be viewed out of those permitted hours.
Councillor Maney.
Thank you, Chair. I'm referring to the police representation at page 29, which refers to an incident on the 19th of November, which appears to have necessitated their representation. The inference I draw from that is that when the police attended the premises, presumably following a report from somebody associated with the business, they appeared to come to the conclusion that somebody could have, in fact, assaulted two youths in the premises. Could you tell us in your own words what happened there?
Sorry. Yeah, there's two young boys. They came into the shop and they standing on the drink section. I just walk around and facing up the drinks chiller. And suddenly they turn around and they said to me, touch me, touch me. And they come close to me and pushing me at the back. Then I just said, go away, like that. That's only I did. And that's only that happened. There's a card stand, we just fix it on the day, which is it's not fixed properly, and they just fell on that. And all the card stand fell on them. And we take them all because they lost their phone underneath there. So there's little young boy making for the phone. So I give the phone back to them and they walk away. And within 5 minutes, one of the local customer comes and they've identified the kids. They call them back and they come back and say sorry just before the police come in. So I already told them, I already called the police. So I can't stop it. I have to show the CCTV camera. When the police look at the camera and they said, you shouldn't push them or touch them like that. But they said it's a self-defense. I can see that. But they come close to you and standing in front of you like that. I said, go away, like that. But that's only the ones happened within 10 years' time, I believe. But especially on that period when we fixed the card stand on just next to the drink chiller. Thank you.
Any more questions from the members?
Yeah, just one other quick one from me, Chair. Just so I'm clear, the premises at the moment is, for want of a better word, news agents? Yes. And in order to diversify, you now want to sell alcohol. Can I just ask whether the applicants have been associated with any other business anywhere else which has been involved in the sale of alcohol? You don't have a history or any experience of selling liquor or any other license?
Sorry, I worked for the BP Marks and Spencer nearly 19 years as a duty manager. And previously I have a permanent license, personal license. So I worked there for 17, 18 years.
So you?
Yes, I have a 18, 19 years experience with the retail business. Thank you.
And just so I'm clear, that specifically related to the sale of alcohol you have?
Yes,
yeah.
sell alcohol, yeah. I have a personal license already for a long time.
I have one question as well. You've already had some trouble in the shop. When you're selling alcohol, it tends to attract even more antisocial behaviour. Who would actually be in the shop to maintain the security, and how would that be maintained?
It's going to be 2 people, evening time especially. I'm going to be there all the time because I'm working 7 days a week last 10 years. So someone going to be there for evening shift with me. So are we going to look after like that way?
And who would be the other person, please?
We're going to hire, once we get the permission, then we're going to hire another person to work for me.
Is she over 18?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I just very quickly, I mean, you mentioned that your business has been struggling. Would you say that it would be able to survive without diversifying and being able to sell alcohol? Could the business survive?
Yeah, because the council lady came in about a couple of 6 months, nearly August or something. So she put the rents up, rent gone high. So we said we can't afford it to pay. So she said, what help you needed? So we asked for, can you give us some off license? So that's why she break my lease, and we paid for £600-700 to take the part of the lease, and then she gave us a letter. Then we applied for the personal license. Thank you.
Chair, let me expand on that. The premises is owned by the council, and there was the yearly rent went up. So my client tried to negotiate a reduction in the rent. What was said that there was a caveat on the premises that they couldn't sell alcohol. And with the negotiation of the rent, it was said that the premises could now sell alcohol. And there was a redraft of the lease, which my client had to pay a considerable amount to actually change the lease, which permitted them to now apply to sell alcohol. And that was on the bargain that the business can diversify and give an opportunity to increase a revenue.
Okay, thank you. Can I just clarify in my own head? It's not going to be purely. Is it still going to be a newsagent as well as an off license?
And Chair, there will be no more than 20%.
No, newsagent.
No, there will be no more than 20%. There will be far less than 20% of alcohol. I would, looking at the shelves, I would say it would be about 10% alcohol and rest convenience, newspaper, sweets and general items.
So it's to supplement the business, not replace it.
That's correct, Chair.
Thank you. Does the licensing officer have any questions, please?
No, thank you, Chair.
Does Essex Police have any questions?
No, sir.
Thank you. I would now like to ask the licensing officer to summarise their case, please.
Thank you, Chair. We've heard from all the parties that are present here this evening. It's for the committee now to determine the weight to attach to the residents and police representations. As Mr Richards pointed out, competition isn't a relevant factor in determining licence applications. So having heard the evidence this evening, it's for the committee to determine accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I ask Essex Police to summarise their case, please?
Thank you, sir. There's nothing further for me to add other than the information that I've given previously.
I'd like to ask the applicant to make a closing summary statement before we begin our deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I won't take much of your time. The application, it's been presented in front of you. The application is until 9 o'clock of a night to sell alcohol to supplement an existing struggling business. My clients have experience in selling alcohol, many years of selling alcohol in a previous management position. He's recently redone his personal license, so he's a responsible seller of alcohol. The family have been running this business for the last 30 years. My clients, to my left, have been at the premises for the last 10 years. we put this application to you for consideration, which we hope it will be successful, so my clients can continue trading in a successful manner for many more years at the premises. I have no more to say. I'd just like to thank you.
Thank you. And has everyone said all they wish to say? Yep. Yes? Okay, thank you. The subcommittee will now retire to consider its decision and will be accompanied by the clerk and legal advisor to the subcommittee. And we'll ask you to remain in attendance until we return. Thank you. Right, thank you. The subcommittee has returned from its deliberations, and to give you our decision, I will ask our legal representative to read out the verdict. Thank you.
The application is granted. Subcommittee listened carefully to the submissions of the applicant and the objections from the local residents. However, were persuaded on balance that there was no evidence that there would be an increase of any risk in relation to the licensing objectives. They therefore held to grant the variation sought to include the additional conditions suggested by Trading Standards and Essex Police. This decision will be communicated in writing. The committee would remind all parties that they have the right to appeal against this decision to the Magistrates' Court within 21 days. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, I'd like to close the meeting. Thank you for everyone's attendance. It started at 7 and I'm now closing at 7:40. Thank you.